Hi, I'm Daniel, and like I said before, SpongeBob Season 7 is below average. It has the same amount of bad episodes as Season 4 and 5 combined, and the best of this season doesn't compare to the best of other seasons. It also has the worst SpongeBob episode. Just remember that this is just my opinion, and if this just gets repetitive, it's because the show is repetitive. And also, as a bonus, I will share my thoughts on that Kamp Koral sneak peek at the end. 10. Shellback Shenanigans. Plankton pretends to be Gary and he pretends to be dying so he can get the formula. This episode has pacing problems. Most of the episode is dragged out and the ending is rushed. It also uses the unoriginal plot of Plankton disguising himself as someone else to get the formula. If only an episode of a later season would do that plot well. 9. That sinking feeling. SpongeBob and Patrick sink Bikini Bottom. This episode is really dumb. That's not always bad with the right execution, but this plot is badly executed. It doesn't have a proper ending, and for some reason this got nominated for an Emmy. 8. Big Sister Sam. Patrick's sister comes to visit and destroys SpongeBob and Squidward's house. This episode is bland and Patrick is really unlikable. Also, it isn't a problem because SpongeBob continuity always didn't make sense, but Patrick said he didn't have a sister in Something Smells. 7. The Scent of Money. After finding out Gary is a magnet, Krabs uses him to get money. Krabs is unlikable and one-dimensionally money-loving, and SpongeBob's stupidity had to go up a lot for the plot to make sense. 6. Trench Race. SpongeBob and Patrick end up in a town with stereotypes. These new character designs look awful, like who thought this was a passable design? This episode is the epitome of not being funny, and the way these characters were portrayed is kind of offensive. 5. Stuck in the Ringer. SpongeBob gets stuck in a ringer and glued on it by Patrick. The tone is too depressing for this to be any fun to watch. The ending is a cop-out and doesn't make sense, and Patrick is portrayed as either unlikable or he had his stupidity to maximum. 4. Someone's in the kitchen with Sandy. Plankton steals Sandy's fare to trick SpongeBob into revealing the formula. Meanwhile, Sandy tries to get her fare back. I don't get this episode's side plot. Why can Sandy take her fare? Why doesn't she take her white suit, which Plankton didn't take when going out, instead of being naked? Also, this episode loves making jokes about nakedness every minute. This is also the same plot as Shellback Shenanigans and Imitation Crabs, but it is worse than both these episodes, which treat it as a joke that people don't realise that they're not actually the real person. In Imitation Crabs, at least Squidward actually realises it isn't Mr. Krabs, but he just doesn't care. This episode's tone is really mean-spirited, with Sandy being constantly made fun of and arrested. Someone's in the kitchen with Sandy is so bad that I spent this long talking about it. 3. A pal for Gary. SpongeBob gets another pet so Gary has a friend while he's at work, but that pet is secretly evil. In this episode, SpongeBob is really unlikable for stealing the pet and ignoring the warnings. Andy has his stupidity increased even more than in the sense of money, for ignoring how evil the other pet is and is not even trying to hide it. Aside from Breakfast with Squidward, this is the worst appearance of SpongeBob the character. 2. One-course meal. Plankton is scared of whales, so Krabs dresses up as Pearl and breaks into Plankton's home, which leads him to suicide. Now we are here, the most hated episode among SpongeBob fans for a good reason. Mostly because of Mr. Krabs' reaction when he finds out about the suicide attempt. If you were to have at least some realization I went too far, then this episode would be fine, but he yaps. Keep in mind, Plankton's meant to be the villain and Krabs is meant to be a good guy. This episode would have even been mid-tier bad if Krabs would have been portrayed as the villain and got calm in the end instead of it being given to Plankton. And now, honourable mentions are I Heart Dancing, Keep Bikini Bottom Beautiful, Grandma's Secret Recipe, and The Curse of the Hex. 1. Yours, Mine and Mine. SpongeBob and Patrick fight over a Krusty Krab toy. This episode fails for a lot of reasons, but mainly because it makes it seem like SpongeBob and Patrick are equally in the wrong, when Patrick is clearly more wrong by a lot. SpongeBob paid for the toy, and Patrick had already had a day with the toy and is refusing to give SpongeBob a turn. There are other problems like the comedy being unfunny, Krabs being one-dimensionally money-loving, and the fight dragging on, but that main problem overshadows all of that. And that final line is the most frustrating scene in all of SpongeBob. That makes it not just the worst episode of this season, but of the entire show. In conclusion, look at that tier list. It's the worst season in my opinion. Also the Kamp Koral sneak peek, which is old news by the time this comes out. I don't like how the show's looking so far. It uses the original voice actors, and I don't like that because they're meant to be young. What happened to the Sponge on the Run voice actors? This is upsetting because I really like the voice they got for young Squidward and young Sandy. It also isn't funny, and I don't think it has a reason to exist. I am mixed in animation because the models look fine and the indoor shots look really good, but the lighting when they're outside looks really bad. Apparently this animation meant to be unfinished, so that's probably a good thing. The end.